Week 18. You didn't think we'd show up, but here we are, off the mat again. This is your Sharp Squares podcast with Greg Roth and the ambassador, David Eby. This is yours truly, Eric Glazer, and here we go. Last week, another consistent week for our Sharps, 36.8% ATS. You can't make it up. I mean, these numbers are just staggering. Metal games were 2 and 4. Pick 5, 1 and 4, 3, 2, 1, Ofer. We'll get into that later on. We've got some interesting trends coming up. We've got some interesting handicapping highlights. But before we do all of that, we're going to give you the picks in a segment called Gold, Silver, Bronze. And to provide you with all of that invaluable information is everyone's favorite fellow degenerate, the Greg Roth.
Eric, thank you so much. Great to see you and the ambassador in 2025, our first show of the year. We have 4 medal games.
I also think it's the first show we've all gone Sharp Squares hats at the same time.
It looks good. Your hat, though, you always keep the brim up. You've been doing that for many years.
The brim is too far up. So you want me to go down like this? I mean, this is really,
I think so, yes.
Things really riveted. Keep on going.
It helps you avoid security cameras recognition. There are 4 medal games. 4 medal games. There's a gold game. There's 1 silver game. And there's 2 bronze games. The gold game, week 18, the pick. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. They're plus 9.5 in Denver to take on the Broncos. Chris Raybon, Gail Alexander, the Whale Capper, Covers Podcast, the Favorites Podcast, Todd Wishnow, and Teddy Covers all picked Kansas City. Nobody picked Denver. There's some interesting Bo Nix trends coming up, although we've had some version of those in prior episodes. The silver game, the pick. It's the New York Jets. They're plus 1.5, a home dog. We have some trends on that as well, some home dogs. They haven't fared too well this year. They're welcoming the Miami Dolphins to New York. Scott Seidenberg and Chris Raybon are on the Jets. Ralph Michaels did pick the Dolphins. 2 bronze games. The top-rated bronze game, the Sunday night game, the last game of the regular season. The picks the Minnesota Vikings. They're plus 2.5 in Detroit to take on the Lions. Steve Fezzik, R.J. Bell, Scott Seidenberg, Tommy the Hitman, and Fabian Summer all picked Minnesota. Nobody likes Detroit in that game. They are playing. Eric, I'm going to do it again. Why not ask a question I don't know the answer to? Maybe the ambassador knows the answer. That game is for. Was that for the 1 seed, or did Minnesota already clinch? So it's for the division. It's for the 1 seed. That's a big game. Okay. This last medal game, bronze, the picks, the New York Giants. We got 2 New York. 4 medal games, 2 New York teams.
Is that a medal game or just our 5th game? Is that a medal game?
No, that's a medal game.
Sorry, my bad. I shouldn't be stepping on your toes. Keep on going.
It's bronze. And the bronze medal goes to the New York Giants. 2 New York teams, plus 3. They're in Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Scott Seidenberg and Ross Tucker picked New York. Nobody picked Philly. So, to summarize the medal games, Kansas City is gold. The Jets are silver. Minnesota and the Giants are bronze.
Good stuff. Incidentally, next week, playoffs, I will summarize all the Sharps records. We'll highlight the guys where they finished, the best guys. There aren't many guys above 500, as you could guess, and all the guys that sucked. You'll get all that data. I know people ask for that from time to time. You'll get all of that to start week 19.
Maybe we should ask some of the audience to vote on who gets fired heading into next season.
Could be us.
Everybody. So, guys, the picks, obviously 4 medal games, Chiefs, Jets, Vikings, Giants make the top 5. The 5th highest rated game, which wasn't a medal game, which you started to allude to, Eric, was not the Giants. They were a medal game, but that team is the Houston Texans. They were the 5th highest rated game. Not a medal game, not very highly ranked at all, but, we'll take them as the 5th game. We need a 5th game. Let me set that game up for you. The Texans, they're +1.5 in Tennessee to take on the Titans. Finally, we're fading the Titans, guys. Chris Raybon and Gil Alexander took Houston. Steve Fezzik and the Favorites podcast did take Tennessee in descent. 3-2-1. We're just going down the board again. Chiefs 3, Jets 2, Vikings 1.
So incidentally, and last week I spoke to this a bit about if you just faded our gold picks, what a run you'd be on. So to that theme, don't like disclosing this, but our picks have been so disappointing. We have the opportunity, Greg and I do, in 3-2-1 to win some money because we've been so bad, which is embarrassing.
It almost makes you want to take the Titans. We had the discussion, but we're just going to it's hard to fade. Ironically, in that pool, our team name is George Costanza, to do the opposite.
That's right.
And had we done that this year of our picks, we would have won the pool.
Won the pool easily. So we are hoping for a bad week in 3-2-1, so do with that as you may. But we just went through the algorithm. We decided not to screw things up. The algorithm and the sharps have failed us for 17 weeks. What's another one? Do with that as you may. Are we good? Should we dismiss everyone now? I think so, right? All right. If you're just looking for the picks and you don't want the handicapping highlights, you are now all dismissed. All right, we're bringing in the ambassador to start us off with some trends, compliments of the Action Network and Evan Abrams and Stuckey.
All right, Eric, this is called Fade the Need teams. Since 1990, eliminated teams playing teams that need to win over the final 2 weeks of the regular season have gone 105, 69, and 4. That's 60% against the spread. For the week 18 this season, the following eliminated teams fit this trend: Saints at Tampa Bay, Panthers at Atlanta, and the Jets versus Miami. In addition, teams with a winning percentage between 40 to 60% in week 16 or later have gone just 27, 72, and 4 ATS, that's 27%, against opponents with an 8 to 25% worse winning percentage, failing to cover by 3.8 points per game dating back to 2007. This week, that applies to the Colts, Dolphins, Falcons, and Buccaneers.
Wow,
And
that was complicated, but at the end of the day, we just need to take the Colts, Dolphins, Falcons, and Buccaneers.
exactly, if you enjoy that trend, that's all you need to do is go with those 4 teams.
All right.
Now let's move. Oh, I'm sorry. Here you are, Eric. Please do Year of the Chalk.
I'm doing Year of the Chalk, right? That's what we decided. Didn't we just decide that?
You
Okay.
got it. Yeah,
I'm usually the one stepping on people's toes, so I don't want to do it again if I could avoid it. Year of the Chalk. We may call it the year of Jeff Google, Greg. Favorites, 14-2 straight up in week 17, but they have gone 184, 72, and 72% straight up this year, the most profitable season since 2005. It's also led to the least profitable season for dogs on the money line since 2005. That makes sense. Teams getting at least 2/3 of spread bets have gone 59% against the number this year. And those teams are also 70%, 73% on the money line, going 36-8 straight up, 82% since week 13. Home dogs, on the other hand, usually our go-to, are 43, 57, and 3, 43% ATS, which would be the least profitable season since 2005. You're telling me. Favorites are also on a tear since week 15, going 33 and 15 or 69%.
All right, now let's talk about the Lions. Dan Campbell is 50, 28, and 1 ATS, 64%. As coach of the Dolphins and Lions, you might recall he was the interim coach of the Dolphins for a few games. So those games are added into the stats. That 64% winning percentage is the best for any head coach with a minimum of 20 games in the Super Bowl era. The Lions are 46, 20, and 1 ATS, 70% in the regular season over the past 4 years. That's the best 3-year ATS stretch since the 2016 to 2018 New England Patriots. And as of now, the best 4-year ATS stretch for any team in the Super Bowl era. Wow.
Frustrating. We could have been just riding the Lions. Here's some Denver Broncos and, most importantly, Bo Nix trends. Bo Nix, as a starter, has been a cover machine. We've talked about this in past episodes. He's 11-5 ATS. In fact, Nix is the only the fourth rookie QB ever to cover 11+ games in the season in the wild card era since 1990, joining Russell Wilson in 2012, Andrew Luck in 2012, and Joe Flacco in 2008. Couple of other quick things about Nix. He is closed as a favorite 7 times in the 16 starts. He is 7-0 straight up and ATS, covering that spread by 12.1 points per game. That's crazy. He's the lone remaining QB undefeated ATS as a favorite this year. From Denver's point of view, they are 7-0 ATS as a favorite, and no team in the Super Bowl era has ended a regular season 8-0 ATS as a favorite. Fascinating. All right, let's get that's, by the way, I want to give credit one more time, all from the Action Network, Stuckey and Evan Abrams.
Speaking of Bo Nix and the Broncos, they're a gold game. Actually, the Chiefs, fading them is the gold game, plus 9.5 in Denver. The theme, can you trust Denver to lay 10 points in any team? Well, according to the trends, you can, although that was a rhetorical question. Handicap synopsis, can the Chiefs play spoiler in Week 18 as they have in the past? Do they want to play spoiler against Denver with a red-hot Cincinnati team needing the Chiefs to win to help them secure the last wildcard spot? Interesting strategy indeed. Highlights from Chris Raybon of the Action Network. He believes that Denver may not be as aggressive on play calling and settle for field goals. Denver only has 1 win over a playoff team this year. Gil Alexander and Todd Wishnow, beating the book, believe that Denver is good but cannot roll teams at will with rookie QB Bo Nix. I don't think any team in the NFL can roll a team at will. From Teddy Covers, who we think made a guest appearance on Bet In It because he's not usually on it. Maybe he will be next year. He thinks Andy Reid has a great record to close out the season, 9-1 straight up. That's why he likes Kansas City. He thinks they'll show up to play. Starters will otherwise be off for 3 weeks as they have the number 1 seed. That's too long. They get rusty, and Andy Reid knows it. KC backups, alternatively, are very good, according to Teddy Covers. They won on the road last year in a similar situation at the LA Chargers. All the pressure is on Denver to win this game. That's according to Teddy Covers. Timestamps, Action Network, 11 minutes, 22 seconds, beating the book 30 minutes, 40 seconds, and then a second time at 35 minutes and 22 seconds. Bet on it, 6 minutes, 30 seconds. The Favorites podcast, 51 minutes, 15 seconds.
Fish at the Jets. We have the Jets plus 1.5. The theme here is, despite being out of the playoff hunt, the Jets are looking to play hard against a divisional opponent, and additionally, Aaron Rodgers will be looking to throw his 500th TD of his career in what could be his final game as a Jet. Highlights here. Scott Seidenberg from the Dream Preview points out that these teams are way more similar than they appear. DVOA has the Dolphins at number 20 in the league and the Jets at number 24, and that's with Tua most of the season. Chris Raybon from the Action Network believes regardless of who is QB for the Jets, they are still playing for pride and should be able to move the ball. Some dissent here from Ralph Michaels via Bet On It. He is not using the Miami has cause or need to win this game in his handicap. He's actually looking at this particular trend, that a play on a team off a win and a cover versus an opponent off a loss and a non-cover, and that's what you have here, with the line between 3. And the team off the win is also on the road. Following us? Here we go. Dolphins on the road. They're off a cover, playing the Jets, hosting. Those teams are 64 and 36 or 64% against the number. And from week 10 on, the win percentage increases to 67%. So because of that, he is in descent playing the Dolphins. Timestamps here. Dream Preview, 1 hour, 15 minutes, 40 seconds. Action Network, 25 minutes, 36 seconds. And if you want to hear Ralph Michaels on Bet On It, that is 29 minutes and 50 seconds.
Let's take a look at the Vikings at the Lions, the big game of the week, Sunday Night Football. Vikings plus 2.5 is the pick, the theme. Because of all its injuries, the Lions defense is offensive. You got to think about that for a second. The Lions defense is offensive. Let's go to the highlights. Steve Fezzik from Dream Preview says this is a bad spot for Detroit because the Lions are on a short week and they played everyone on Monday Night Football, so they got no rest. Scott Seidenberg, also from the Dream Preview, points out that Detroit plays man coverage more than any other team in the NFL, and slamming Sammy Darnold has 8 touchdowns and 1 interception versus man coverage this year. That's quite the touchdown to interception ratio. The Hitman from Forward Progress says that since injuries have ravaged their defense, the Lions rank last in EPA per play on defense. Not good. Suma wonders what the Lions' strategy is going to be and whether they can sustain drives with the run. He also said that the Vikings defense should get some stops and the Lions will struggle to get any stops. Timestamps, Dream Preview 30:56, Forward Progress 45:06.
Biggest regular season of the game. We gave it to EB for a reason. And remember, none of us here at Sharp Squares are truly sharp. But this is your Sharp Squares podcast.
Good luck out there.